The conflict in Ukraine, while shocking in its brutality, did not erupt from a vacuum. It is deeply rooted in centuries of intertwined history, territorial disputes, and geopolitical power struggles. To understand the current war, one must delve into the complex relationship between Russia and Ukraine, acknowledging the deep cultural and linguistic ties alongside the long history of conflict and mistrust. From the collapse of the Soviet Union to the Orange Revolution and the annexation of Crimea in 2014, the seeds of this conflict have been sown over decades. The Euromaidan protests of 2014, sparked by Ukraine's then-President Viktor Yanukovych's decision to abandon an association agreement with the European Union in favor of closer ties with Russia, marked a turning point. Russia's subsequent annexation of Crimea and support for separatists in eastern Ukraine further inflamed tensions. The Minsk agreements intended to bring peace ultimately failed to quell the simmering conflict. These events laid bare the deep divisions between a Russia determined to maintain its sphere of influence and a Ukraine increasingly oriented towards the West. The current war, therefore, represents a dangerous escalation of this long-simmering conflict. It is a stark reminder of the fragility of peace and the devastating human cost of unresolved historical grievances. Understanding this historical context is crucial for comprehending the motivations, fears, and calculations of the key players involved. Only by acknowledging the deep-seated historical tensions can we begin to grapple with the complexities of the current conflict and its potential ramifications for the future. In the early days of the conflict, many analysts predicted a swift Russian victory. Russia's military, boasting a larger army and superior firepower, seemed poised to overwhelm Ukraine's defenses. The expectation was that Kyiv would fall within days, if not hours. This assessment, however, underestimated the resilience of the Ukrainian people and the strategic miscalculations that would plague the Russian invasion. Ukraine's military, though outmatched in numbers and equipment, surprised the world with its fierce resistance. Leveraging their knowledge of the terrain and employing agile tactics, Ukrainian forces inflicted heavy losses on the advancing Russians. The widespread use of man-portable anti-tank and anti-aircraft weapons provided by Western allies proved particularly effective in slowing and disrupting the Russian advance. The conflict quickly evolved into a war of attrition, defying initial expectations of a rapid Russian victory. Moreover, the invasion galvanized international support for Ukraine, exceeding even the most optimistic predictions. The European Union, once hesitant to confront Russia directly, imposed unprecedented sanctions and provided military aid. NATO, reinvigorated by a renewed sense of purpose, bolstered its presence in Eastern Europe. The conflict, initially perceived as a regional crisis, rapidly escalated into a global confrontation between Russia and the West. The early phases of the conflict shattered preconceived notions about the balance of power and the effectiveness of modern warfare. Ukraine's determined resistance, coupled with Russia's strategic blunders and the unexpected unity of the international community, reshaped the geopolitical landscape. The war entered a protracted and unpredictable phase, defying easy predictions and highlighting the complexities of modern warfare in the 21st century. Ukraine's military strategy has been defined by adaptability and a willingness to exploit Russia's weaknesses. Outnumbered and outgunned, Ukrainian forces have adopted asymmetric tactics, prioritizing mobility and precision strikes over direct confrontations. This approach has proven surprisingly effective, enabling Ukraine to inflict significant losses on the invading forces and slow their advance. One key element of Ukraine's defense has been the effective use of man-portable anti-tank and anti-aircraft systems such as the Javelin and Stinger missiles supplied by Western allies. These weapons have empowered small mobile units to engage and destroy Russian tanks and aircraft, negating Russia's advantage in heavy armor and air power. The widespread use of drones for reconnaissance and targeting has further enhanced Ukraine's ability to strike Russian forces with precision. Furthermore, Ukraine has successfully leveraged its knowledge of the terrain and the support of the local population to its advantage. Urban warfare, with its inherent complexities and challenges for an invading force, has become a defining feature of the conflict. Ukrainian defenders, familiar with the urban landscape and bolstered by civilian resistance, have inflicted heavy casualties on Russian troops attempting to capture key cities. Ukraine's military strategy, however, extends beyond the battlefield. The government's effective communication and information warfare campaign has rallied international support and countered Russian propaganda. By highlighting Russian atrocities and showcasing the resilience of the Ukrainian people, Ukraine has successfully won the battle for hearts and minds in many parts of the world, further isolating Russia on the global stage. The invasion of Ukraine has exposed significant weaknesses within the Russian military, challenging long-held assumptions about its capabilities. Despite boasting a formidable arsenal and a history of military prowess, Russia's performance has been marred by logistical failures, poor coordination, and an apparent underestimation of Ukrainian resistance. These shortcomings have raised serious questions about the modernization and effectiveness of Russia's armed forces. One glaring weakness has been the logistical struggles that have plagued the Russian advance. Reports of fuel shortages, supply chain disruptions, and inadequate medical care have highlighted systemic issues within the Russian military's logistical capabilities. These logistical failures have hampered Russia's ability to sustain offensive operations and contributed to low morale among its troops. Moreover, the invasion has exposed significant shortcomings in Russia's command and control structure. The lack of coordination between different branches of the military and the apparent disconnect between strategic objectives and tactical execution have led to costly blunders and missed opportunities. The reliance on poorly trained conscripts and the absence of a clear chain of command have further exacerbated these challenges. The performance of Russia's much-vaunted air force has also fallen short of expectations. Despite possessing a numerical advantage, Russia has failed to achieve air superiority over Ukraine. The effective use of Ukrainian air defenses, coupled with Russia's apparent reluctance to commit its most advanced aircraft for fear of losses, has limited the impact of Russian air power. The invasion has revealed a stark disparity between Russia's military ambitions and its ability to execute complex military operations effectively.